Thank you everyone for joining us today for our product demonstration on our new exciting Lexile text analyzer content creator. Let me go to the agenda. So we're going to go through a few things today with you on our call. So we're going to talk about our new exciting tools, why Lexiles are meaningful, our new analyzer. We're going to have a product demo and a quick wrap up. So today on the call is myself. I'm Kim Altman. I'm the Director of Software Sales and Content Measurement. And also joining me today is Jackson Stenner, who's our Director of Product Management. So we're going to talk about the Lexile framework for reading. And I know many of you on this call are familiar with Lexile, so we're going to make this part pretty brief, but I wanted to give a quick foundation just for some that are just joining and coming to Lexile for the first time. So when you think about Lexile, there's basic components to it. So we start with the scale, and the scale anchors the framework. And the framework was developed over time with reading experts, and this developmental scale has evolved. It now includes below 0, which is beginning reader, and that scale now goes down further so that readers can be matched at any age. So one of the benefits of taking the scale is taking a student who receives a Lexile test measure and matching them to a book when a student receives and matches to a content measure. What's nice about this is it helps to target reading so that students can read around 100L below to 50L above. And consistently over time, they become a better reader. And the more you read within your targeted range, and you increase your complexity, the better reader you become. So how does a student get a Lexile measure? Basically, they have to have an assessment that is linked to the Lexile scale. And these measures determine their reading comprehension in a scientific way. There's a variety of tests that can produce these types of measures. So these students get measures from a state assessment, from an interim or benchmark assessment, from norm reference assessments, progress monitoring assessments, different language exams in the workplace and at the university level. So we have Lexile assessment partners that cover the globe. Some of you on our call today, so thank you. There's different tests in the market that measure students, and there's over 75 popular reading assessment programs that report Lexile reading measures. And these companies see the value of adding that Lexile scale to their assessment to make their test scores actionable so students can take that information and then find the right resources to grow. We're also really excited because we've been gaining a lot of traction internationally. So we work with partners from Korea, Japan, China, Mexico, Spain, Hungary, UK, Chile, and England. And they also provide Lexile measures in India, Australia, Southeast Asia, the Middle East. So we're really excited about the growth that Lexile is seeing internationally. So how does content get a Lexile measure? Basically, any type of content gets a Lexile measure when it's prepared and submitted to a Lexile analyzer, and the resulting calculation gives the measure of the text difficulty. So this is really interesting for me. So when I joined Metametrics, my youngest was just becoming a reader, and I had a bunch of books that he was looking at, and I started to pick them up, and I realized, these books all say that they're a step up to reading 1. And they all say they're a guided F and a DRA level 10. But when I take a look at these books and open them up, they were very different. So I decided to check the Lexile scores of these books. And as you can see, although they are all measured equally from the other performance measures from other products, when you look at the Lexile level, there's a 400-point difference in the range of these measures. And that's why the scientific reading measure of Lexile is so valuable to the student, because a student that's able to read at a 40L could not even pick up Rocket's 100th day at a 440L. So we really want to make sure that when students get that Lexile measure, they have the appropriate content. And so Lexile measured content really supports their understanding. And our Lexile partners also cover the spectrum, and many of you are on the call. So we have trade book, textbook, school library publishers, catalog publishers, periodical databases, booksellers, all of you. We so appreciate you being our partner. So why are Lexile measures important in the education ecosystem? So over 35 million students are receiving a Lexile measure in about half of the student population between national and state assessments, classroom assessments, and from reading programs. So we are excited that we have partnered with over 20 states to provide a Lexile measure on their state summative assessment. So in these states in blue, when the student takes their end of year summative assessment with the state, they receive a Lexile measure on their score report that goes home to their families, that can be shared with the teachers, can be shared for their progress for the upcoming school year. So we're really excited that students in all of these states are getting this Lexile measure. Some new additions recently have been California, Illinois, New Hampshire. So that's 10 million additional students that will receive Lexile measures this upcoming year. These measures then provide that information for students and teachers to be able to determine the best content for students to access. So where do you find Lexile measures in the marketplace? So there's in bookstores, we have them in the libraries, in the classrooms, and even online with our own Find a Book portal that teachers, families, and parents have access to assess and understand how to link that Lexile measure they get to appropriate content. So why invest in this new tool that Jackson's going to share with us today? I think it's really important that when you're actually creating the content, to know exactly where you are in development. And that helps you hit your target and hit the mark. Instead of waiting until sending us the content at the end and we give you the measure, that new tool that Jackson's going to share with you today can give you that instant feedback when developing content, so you know exactly where you're at and how you get that measure right away. So that ability to do that type of measurement makes your content development more efficient because you're not having to guess at where that target is. You can develop to a specific grade level or target audience, and you can ensure you're meeting that progression of learning with your program or your product. So if you're trying to scale something over time or vertically aligned content, you can do that all while in development using these tools. And we have a subscription. Many of you are current Lexile Analyzer users, and so you're on a subscription, and we also have a subscription to this new tool that we can transition to you for you as you're ready to kind of move over to this new exciting tool. So now I'm going to turn it over to Jackson, and he's going to go ahead and take you through this new exciting product.
Thanks, Kim. And can you hear me?
Absolutely.
All right, great. Okay, so this year we have been focused on building out a new platform for our customers to access tools and services. The first tool that is available now is the Content Creator. The Content Creator is a tool for content developers to author and iterate content while knowing what the Lexile measure is throughout the development process. As Kim alluded to, this gives content developers confidence that the Lexile measure is right where they need it to be at the point of finalizing the content, instead of as an afterthought that may require some degree of rework to reach your Lexile measure or alignment goals. Beyond just being able to produce Lexile measures for English content, the Content Creator has some new features for you all to access. We've added the ability to produce Spanish Lexile measures through our Spanish Lexile reading framework, El Sistema Lexile para Leer. We've integrated our Power V vocabulary technology to produce challenging and consequential vocabulary lists. We are providing real-time analysis of early reading indicators that are important for content in the K2 space. And we've built useful functionality for teams of all sizes to manage projects, both small and large. Finally, and this is a really exciting feature that we're going to get to today, we've added a new way to get certified Lexile measures on your content. All right, I'm going to move now to the demo where we're going to see some of these features with a little bit more detail. Okay. So once you have a subscription to the content creator, the first user within your organization that will receive credentials will be assigned a administrator role. From this account management screen that you're seeing here, the organizational administrator is then able to add additional team members from within your organization, and it can be any number of users. Users that the organizational administrator creates in this way will be able to set their own password after receiving a welcome email and then access the content creator immediately. We recognize that the size of your team may change over time, so at any point you can activate or inactivate a user from this account management panel. When you deactivate users, don't worry about any of the data they have stored in the system. We will still allow that data to persist. It's just we will no longer allow for that user to access the tool. And so this is really applicable for maybe some contract work that you may be bringing in on your team. In some cases, it may be appropriate for your organization to have multiple administrators, and this can absolutely be accommodated and modified to fit whatever the needs are of your organization at any time. So if you have a small team, it might make sense to just have one or two administrators managing all of the users. And maybe if you have a large team, it might be worth considering having more. You also note that the content creator usage and credits field appear here, right here, and these are tied to your subscription tier, where usage is the number of times that content has been analyzed, and the credits are tied to the certification of content, which again, we'll be talking about shortly. Okay, so you've got your team members configured and you're ready to start developing targeted content at specific Lexile levels or ranges. This is your organization's dashboard. From here, you have a historical record of all content that has been developed and analyzed by the Lexile Analyzer. This view is completely configurable on an individual user basis. So if there are columns of data that you'd rather not see, maybe you don't care so much about when the date something was created, you can customize all of this through the columns function over here on the left and hide the various columns you don't want or enable the columns that you do want. For each document that you've analyzed within the tool, you can see what the latest iteration's Lexile measure is, who created or modified a document, and then other valuable information such as the word count, the language that the content is in, and the document type. As the volume of content measured within the tool increases, you can leverage our filtering and search capabilities to quickly find one or many pieces of content. If your organization has a large number of users, 40, 50 content developers, you can also filter by user and just look at a subset of users within your organization's content that is actively being developed. So once you're ready to start creating documents, it's really easy. You click this Create Document button up at the top right. And here, all you need to provide is a title for your document, and this can really be anything, the document type, and then which language your content is written in. At this time, we are only supporting English and Spanish language. You'll also notice that we have optionally allowed you to provide tags, and tags can really be anything. They can be used to assign additional identifiers about the content you are developing. So if you're authoring content about dogs, you might tag this document as dogs, animals, and pets, or maybe you have an internal file naming schema that you'd like to see translated over here. You can really put anything in the tags field, and we will store that and associate it with the document. And if you were to search from the dashboard, you can search on tags to find the exact document or documents that you're looking for. For the actual content, there are a few ways to input text in the editor. First, you can type and format your text from scratch just inside of the rich text feature. Alternatively, you can copy and paste content from a website or from an external document file that you may have on your machine. And then we also are supporting the ability to upload files from your local machine or from your server, and we will handle the importing and load it into the tool. Once you have your content ready for analysis, all you need to do is click the Analyze button up here at the top right, and it will then generate the results. The analysis typically just takes a few seconds. Sometimes it can take a few more, depending on the size of the content, like a textbook, but it's very fast in terms of its performance of getting you the results quickly, and then you can then modify the text as needed to reach your text complexity goals. So if I go to a document that I've already created for today, we're going to use Kite Day here. This was a leveled reader written in English. You can see over on the right the results. So the results contain the Lexile measure, the word count, the mean sentence length, which is the average sentence length of the content, and then the mean log word frequency, which is really getting at the difficulty of the vocabulary. For text that is analyzed with the Lexile measure less than or equal to 650 Lexiles, we also provide early reading indicators, and these are really powerful. These indicators help identify important text features in early reading content that could present more or less a challenge for the reader. From a content development perspective, they can be used to create content with easier decodability, or maybe you want to create content with more difficult vocabulary. You get that real-time feedback as you are developing that early reading content, and you will see those bars change based on the changes that you make to the text. If you would like more information about these indicators, please go to lexile.com and just search for early reading indicators to learn more about each of these demands. As I previously mentioned on one of my slides, we have also integrated our PowerV vocabulary technology. So PowerV identifies words as having significant consequence or relevance and can be used to help inform instruction. And when you certify the content, which we're going to get to in a moment, you can actually publish the list of consequential words that we are producing inside of this tool as an additional piece of collateral to go along with your content. Another additional feature of the content creator is the document history, and that's found here. So any content within the system can be modified as many times as needed to reach your Lexile target. And you do that by clicking this edit button and then changing the text. Every time you do this, we keep track of all of those changes that are being made to the content over time. And we also allow you to revert to a previous iteration at any time. We also support multiple users collaborating on a single document. So any iterations to the document by any user within your organization are always available from this history tab. Finally, from this screen, we have the export feature. That's this blue button up here at the top right. This allows you to download any of the content that you create inside of Content Creator to your local computer. Obviously, we keep all of your content stored safely inside of this application, but if for some reason you needed to export, we do allow that for .txt and .docx, which is Microsoft Word file formats. Okay, now let's talk about what I consider to be the most exciting feature. From this document, you can see a certify button. It's this green button right here. Normally, in order to get certified Lexile measures, you would need to create the content, and then you would submit that content to our content measurement department. There, we process your submissions and we return the results. And while we strive to return results quickly, that process to get a certified Lexile measure, which then allows you to publish that measure and collateral, et cetera, it can take up to 25 business days or 5 weeks to get that certification on your content back to you. We recognize that getting your content to market with Lexile measures quickly is vital. So we have created this feature, instant certification, and added it to this tool. Instant certification basically allows you to certify content on demand. Once certified, you can immediately make that measure public instead of having to wait up to 25 business days for that measure to return back to you. This feature is only granted for organization administrators that are in your organization, and it's just more of a safety net to make sure nobody accidentally certifies something that isn't quite ready. And if I go back here, I'm going to show that not only can you certify a single document, but you can also multi-select documents that have been created by your team, click certify, and then you can certify several at once. So let's take, for example, night owls. So we finalized this content, we feel good about it, and we are ready to publish this measure on our website for this news article about night owls. To do that, I could do it from the dashboard as I just showed, or I can click certify. And you will see that we pop up with a little notification that says, hey, you're about to certify this document. And it tells you how many credits will be expended from your subscription in order to certify it. And if I click certify, done. So now you can make the Lexile measure and Power V vocabulary words public in your marketing collateral, website, or on a physical copy. And you now have essentially bypassed the 25 business day turnaround for getting your Lexile measures to market. Really exciting feature. Certified documents are indicated by this green ribbon. You may have seen a few before I certified this Night Owls one. So you always have transparency on what content has been certified. We also display information about your subscription up here in the top right relating to your usage of the tool, as well as the number of credits that have been expended for instant certification. And we keep this updated in real time, so you always know where you're at in your subscription usage. The last thing I'll mention about the tool is product support. So we have we built a help site that has all of the details of the functionality that you've seen today and can be referenced by team members if they ever run into any issues. And if you do run into an issue that our documentation on our support site can't answer, we have a dedicated support team to answer any inquiries you may have, and that can be done through a support form request on that support site. And we'll usually get back to you within a day or so. Thank you for your time today. Really exciting stuff, especially when you think about the implications of instant certification. I can't wait to see you all using this tool for both content development and for the certification functionality. And with about 5 minutes left here, I'm going to pass it back to my colleague Kim to wrap us up.
Thanks, Jackson. Really quickly, I wanted to have you answer a couple questions that came in while you were speaking. The first one is, does the upload option allow fully designed PDFs or only text-based formats, doc, text, etc.?
Yeah, so we only are supporting at this time docx and plain text formats. We have looked at potentially doing some PDF integration where you can then mock up a PDF, but that is not currently implemented.
Okay. Also, there's been a lot of questions for those colleagues of yours that were unable to attend. Anybody that was registered for this presentation will receive the video and any questions that came up in the Q&A as a follow-up. So everyone will receive a recording of this. Additionally, I wanted to share with you, many of you who are current Lexile Analyzer customers, you work with Chris Schwartzel, who's familiar, and his picture is up on the screen. So Chris does support our team, and he does do a lot of the negotiation and contracting with you around the Lexile Analyzer, and he will also be doing that work for Content Creator. So you can always follow up with Chris Schwartzel as your contact to ask questions about the Content Creator and transitioning your current tool over to this one. The next question, Jackson, that came in was, can the tool handle text in various formats like tables, bulleted lists, etc.? Jackson, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry,
Yeah,
I might have just gone on mute there. Sorry about that. So we have editing guidelines that you must adhere to when you are putting content inside of the content creator. There are some things that are appropriate for the Lexile analyzer to produce Lexile measures for, and there are some things that are not. And some of those things are tables and like recipe lists, poems, things like that. We have a document that details all of the content and how to modify it to prepare it for the analyzer. So to answer your question directly, we do not support the measurement of tables of information or unpunctuated lists.
So what that means likely is for those of you that publish actual textbooks, those types of products would still be sent to us the way that you've measured in the past for textbooks, because all of those types of things have to be removed and done that way. So this will mainly work for selections and more of your readers and those types of books. But when you're talking about textbooks, that really is one of our certifications that will probably still happen manually. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to supporting your inquiries and questions. As a reminder, the Lexile Analyzer for the content creator has subscription tiers, and that is for usage and how many times you use it. There's also a subscription that we have to content measurement services, and that's how you expend those credits. So all of that information is actually found on our website. We'll actually put the link to that website into our email follow-up, and another long question just came in, and we'll also add that to your Q&A document that you'll receive after the call, because we're running on time. So we appreciate you joining us today, and thank you very much, and look forward to supporting you. All right, thank you.